Hi, welcome to the Mystic Visionary Podcast. This is your host, Zia, and today we're going to do something different. Today I'm going to talk about heart code activation. Within each of us, we have something in our heart that is like the basis for our individual and unique sense of being. When people say they're listening to the call of their heart, or they're listening to their heart's desires, that is that place within you that knows who you are and what you want to pursue in your life. Unfortunately, some people can't connect with that, or they try to listen to their heart, but their head gets in the way. I think in our current paradigm, in the old paradigm, we're kind of governed and run by our brain. Our brain is like the control center. When in the new paradigm, we are controlled by our hearts, and we listen to our hearts and we pay attention to what our heart wants us to know. Our brain is a tool and our heart is our guide. So we need to learn to connect with that. While that is great in theory, it's more difficult to do than just say, what does my heart want? Considering that we've been controlled by our brains most of our life. So that's what the heart code activation is about, is first learning to connect with your heart. And I would recommend the first step would be to take the Heart Archetype Quiz on my website. It'll be linked below. And what the Heart Archetype Quiz does is ask you the question, are you listening to the call of your heart? And you answer just 7 questions, and then those answers will lead you to an archetype. And that archetype could be anything from like the brainiac to the scaredy heart to, there's like 6 different archetypes. And usually 5 of the 6 are about things that possibly could be blocking you from your heart. And there's a full report for each one of those. So if you want to take the quiz and then find your archetype and then click on full report, it's completely free. All you have to do is put in your email address, and I have to do that because the website I use won't let me just have people download stuff without putting in their email. So don't worry, I'm not going to flood your email with all kinds of messages. This is just for you. So download the full report, and the full report is filled with ideas, and there's an action plan, and there's also stories of other people that are sort of made up and sort of not, that kind of help you understand if that's your archetype or not, help you relate and see if it really is relevant to you. So that's the first step. And then the next step is the process of connecting. And that's the hardest part, is to get out of our heads and into our heart. Honestly, I am still struggling with it myself. And actually, that's why partly I'm doing all this work, to remind myself to look and listen to my heart. And this is part of the process that I'm going to talk about that I kind of developed for myself. We are so used to the top-down life, the brain to the heart. We need to change that from the heart to the brain. And I know it feels awkward, but that's the way of the new paradigm. So we're shifting into this world where our hearts lead us instead of our brains. And right now, there's so much going on that we can either buy into the fear and use our brain, allow our brain to go crazy with what's happening in the world, or we can close that down for a minute, connect with our heart, and then look outward and understand things differently. So what I've been doing is using a tool called the Heart Math. It's from the Heart Math Institute. It's a little, I don't even know what they call it, but it's a device that you connect to your ear, and it monitors your heart rate. And then you meditate with that on, and you try to get your heart and your mind in a coherent state. It's a tool that Dr. Joe Dispenza uses in his workshops, and I heard about it through him. And a few years ago, we got one, and we've been using it. Well, if you use it over time, you can see that how your heart and your mind can get into a rhythm, and then there's this consistency and coherency that your heart rate pattern can just sort of mellow out in nice little ripples, instead of these jig-jaggedy waves of confusion. And, it's interesting, as I've been doing that and meditating, I can check it when when my mind is sort of taken over and taken me down a path. The other day I was doing it, and I was watching it as I did it to see if I could stay in the coherent state. And I was meditating from my heart, just imagining breathing in and out of my heart, in and out of my heart. And I was in the green, which is the coherent state. And then suddenly I drifted off, and I started worrying about something that my daughter and I talked about when she came to visit. And I was like, thinking about that. And all of a sudden I was out of the green and in the red. And I realized in that moment, I realized my brain can keep me calm, or my brain can take me into this fight or flight stress response through my thoughts. And when I consciously connect with that heart-based breathing, which is filled with gratitude and love and all that, I get out of my head and into my heart, and then I'm in that great green coherent state. So that was one of the first things that I realized. I'm like, okay, I can be in control of my own thinking. I'm the boss of my brain. My brain is not the boss of me. And if I really want to listen to my heart, I have to shut my brain off temporarily, go deep inside and listen to my heart. So that's what I started doing. It's like, okay, heart, I want to listen to you. Just like I talk about in my Heart Archetype Quiz, on my website, any of the things you see of mine, it's all about living a heart-centered life. And also my book, the Pocket Guide to the New Paradigm. It's about living a heart-centered life. So the next thing I realized is if I breathe in and out of my heart, and I'm listening to my heart, I'm not sure I hear it. And that's one of the things that started me in this whole path to the Heart Archetype Quiz. I had realized that I had a wounded heart that I had covered up with paper mache. I'd been hurt many times in my life, so I wanted to protect myself, so I covered my heart with paper mache, which is how I imagined it, my heart being covered with all these bandages and paper mache that was protecting me, but it was also keeping me from listening to my own heart. So I thought, okay, I need to really take those bandages away, allow that vulnerable state of me being able to connect with my heart. And in the process of that, it dawned on me that I knew some things about quantum physics that could play a role in this. And this isn't going to be like some kind of science experiment or science podcast. But the thing about quantum physics is that where energy goes, where attention goes, energy flows. So if we're putting all of our energy onto something we don't want, then we're going to attract more of that. If we're putting our energy onto something we do want, we're going to get more of that. And the whole concept of this, of the quantum paradigm or the quantum physics, is that there's this whole field that looks like nothingness, but what it truly is unlimited possibilities. And this is another concept that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. It's like in the Newtonian physics, we put our focus on the matter. In the quantum physics, we put our attention on the empty space, because in the empty space, there is this unlimited potential and possibilities. And if we put our attention, this is what I do when I meditate, when I do these podcasts, I get the word out of my box, and then I go and meditate. And how I meditate is I go into that space of emptiness and close my eyes. I call it the 0 point field, which is this place of complete non-attachment and emptiness. And then I put the word out and go, what do I need to know in the new paradigm about whatever the word is? And then suddenly information starts coming to me. Well, so I decided this is possible to do with my heart. So what I started doing is going in and breathing into my heart, and then opening myself up to whatever my heart wanted to put forth. And I just imagined that I breathed in through my heart, I breathed up through my throat and into my third eye, and then I sent the energy of my heart's desires out into the field. And I breathed in through my heart, brought it up through my throat to my third eye, and sent that out into the field. And it's like, okay, now if I do this, then I just have to wait and see what comes back to me. Whether it's during meditation where an idea or a concept comes to me, or it might be the next day when all of a sudden I hear information or I meet a person or I hear something that suddenly tells me something. And my heart is sending me a message. I know that sounds a little out there, but I have been doing it now for a couple of weeks, and it's amazing what's been happening. I have been hearing things, reading things, finding information out that have been linked to a lot of things in my life and in my desires and my dreams. Like, these are things I kind of wanted, but I really didn't know if I could believe in that. And all of a sudden I've been attracting things to me. And the only way that's happened is that I have just unconsciously allowed my heart to send those messages out through my third eye into the quantum field. And now I've been sitting back and waiting for information to come. Let me give you an example. Larry and I have a machine called the BioWell, and we've been doing, it helps people give you a visual representation of the balance of your chakras. It's a really amazing machine made by a Russian scientist, and we've been using it for a couple of years. Well, we've been contemplating going to like psychic fairs or, health expos and doing them for other people on a bigger level. We've been doing them for people, but kind of low key. So we've been talking about it, but I've been like, we've been busy, whatever. So I've done this breathing and sent this information out to my heart, and from my heart to my third eye out to the field. And so today I was at the gym and I had physical therapy, and I was meeting with my physical therapist, and the building or the area of the gym where they have the physical therapy office is being remodeled. So we had to meet somewhere new. Well, after my physical therapy, I thought I'm going to go down and see the new office and what the construction zone looks like. Since we're remodeling, I'm always interested in construction. So I went down to the old office to see what the work looked like. And it was interesting. They'd taken down some walls and boarded up some doors, and I could see that it was going to be this kind of new, cool, physical therapy space. So as I was turning around, I was walking down this hallway, and there's a big bulletin board, and most of the posts on there were about bodybuilding competitions and all kinds of like 5K run and marathons. But in the corner, there was this one thing that said, come to the Enlightenment Fair. The Enlightenment Lifestyle Fair, I think it said. And I was like, what's this? So I started reading it, and it's next Saturday, and it's one of those fair expo things where all kinds of people come that do alternative healing and sound baths and, all the things they have at the Life Expo and the psychic fair kind of thing. And I was like, wow, here's one of those things. So I took a picture of it with my phone, and I talked to Larry about it. I said, look at this. This is one of those things that we should be doing, and it's right here in our town next Saturday. So, of course, we're going to go and check it out, see what it's about. But on the way home, I was thinking, this is my heart speaking to me out from the universe, inside or outside in. I sent the message out to the field. I happened across this weird, unrelated flyer on this board about all this, bodybuilding and exercise and 5Ks, etc. And it was next weekend. So I thought, wow, this is something I need to pay attention to. So we went out for coffee and we're talking about it, and we're like, why do we keep talking about this but not doing it? What's stopping us? And we both agreed that the only thing was stopping us was us. So we're going to investigate it. But that's what I'm talking about as far as you don't know what you really want sometimes, but your heart does. And this idea of, this is why I'm talking about the heart code activation. You don't have to know what you want, but you can send it out into this field of unlimited potential and possibilities. And your vibration is going to be, your heart's vibration is going to go out there and match up with like energy, which maybe you don't even know what it is, but the like energy, the energy of your heart does know. And it's going to go out there in the field and start drawing things to you that is a match for your heart. So I've decided to make a meditation for myself, which I'm going to share with you guys, and listen to that probably every day for a while, and allow that vibration of my heart's desire to go out into the field and to see what comes up, the things that come up. I think it's an interesting idea. And I think that it can help people who really don't understand what their heart's desire is. I know for me, I have so many ideas and I follow through with a lot of them. But I also know that I always kind of hold back. I hold back a little bit. I'm just constantly on guard and my mind is always like, nah, don't go there, don't go there. And my heart, I think, probably wants me to go there sometimes, but I just feel like I'm going to be in control of it. And I know there has to be a balance between our mind and our heart. And that's what the heart-brain coherency thing is. But what really needs to happen is we need to live the reverse of what we have been. Like I was saying, we're used to this top-down life where our brain is the boss and the control center, and it tells us everything we need to do. And when we have like an idea coming from our heart, our brain is there to analyze it and convince us that it's not a good idea. So in the new paradigm, we're talking about a shift where it's the opposite of that, where our heart is telling our brain what to do. Our heart is leading us, and our brain is the tool that we use to live that in the world. That's the difference, and that's a big difference. So next, I'm going to be working on that meditation, and I'm going to get it ready and have it the next couple of days. So I'll be posting that. But in the meantime, think about what I've said and go take the Heart Archetype Quiz. It's linked in the show notes, and see what your archetype is. Find out what might be blocking your heart and start reading that information from those full reports and just see what you find out. What could it hurt? It's all free, and it can open your eyes to some things. All right, well, thanks for listening, and I'm looking forward to doing the heart code activation guided meditation, and it will be available soon. All right, have a great week, and I'll be back next week with a new word. I just had to bring this podcast in about the heart code, and I felt compelled to do it. I hope you heard something that makes you think. All right, see you next week. If you want to learn more about the 5 guiding principles of the new paradigm, you can listen to my audiobook, which is the Pocket Guide to the New Paradigm, which is a free audiobook on YouTube. I'll link it below. And the other thing that I have available is the Heart Archetype Quiz. It's a short quiz that answers the question, am I listening to the call of my heart? And you take the quiz and you'll discover what might be blocking you from living the call of your heart. And I think that's what we're all being called to do right now, is to look inside, connect with our heart, and follow its guidance.